That's not my fault. That's your fault for not paying attention. Now, next we're going to be moving on to processing approach. So you may recall from chapter 2 that we process information in two different ways, passively and actively. So passive listening is the habitual and unconscious process of receiving messages. Active listening is the deliberate and conscious process of attending to, understanding, remembering, evaluating, and responding to the messages. So active listening strategies, guys, there's 5 of them. Number 1 is attending, 2 is understanding, 3 is remembering, 4 evaluating, and 5 responding to the messages we receive. So starting with attending, guys, this is effective active listening. We begin with this stage by attending. So attending means you are actively listening. You are actively perceiving and focusing on a message. So maybe you guys are not focusing on this a lot because it's probably going to be a 20-minute recorded lecture on my iPad, even though it's probably a horrible camera angle, whatever it may be, because my face is kind of chubby, but hey, stupid. See, I'm rambling again. Now, poor listeners, they have difficulty exercising control over what they attend to, often letting their minds drift to unrelated thoughts in the topic. Just like my face right there. That was an unrelated thought. Or my air conditioner going off right now. Or the fan flickering in the background. That may cause you to not pay attention. Your thoughts may wander. You're like, why is Professor Newhouse talking about his face? That may have your thoughts wander. And I know you guys are going to be checking your phone during this lecture on a video. I know you will. Even I might at times. Now, the first step to becoming a good active listener is to train ourselves to focus on or attend to what people are saying, regardless of the potential distractions. Now, I have ADHD. I have to take a certain medication to help me focus. It does help me focus, but when I don't take it, guys, my mind starts wandering off. I start to ramble, whatever it may be, okay? I don't always focus because there are distractions all around you. Every single thing in your life is a distraction. Now, number 1, you gotta get physically ready to listen. Good listeners create a physical environment that reduces potential distractions and adopt a listening posture. So, last night, I was reading for my doctoral program, and my sister called right in the middle, or right when I started reading. And I'm like, what do you need right now? Even though she's like, well, I'm just calling to say hi. Yes, it's great that she called to say hi, but I was busy. I wanted to do my reading for my doctoral program for the week, and as of today, I still have not done it because she bothered me yesterday and was randomly talking about something that I didn't want to hear. But again, it's family, so I'm going to answer the phone call. Next, you gotta resist mental distractions. Work consciously to block out those wandering thoughts. You probably can't. I mean, even I, right now, I'm still thinking about my sister calling last night, and that's a mental distraction, even trying to do this lesson. Number 3, when you attend to something, you need to hear the person out. When we usually disagree with someone, we stop listening to them. Our brains say, hey, this person is terrible. This really comes back to with politics. Politics is really bad in this instance, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Green Party, whatever the heck you may be. Okay, socialist, fascist. I hope none of you are like that. But people on both sides of the aisle, they tend to not listen to each other or even hear the person out. Democrat will say, hey, oh my gosh, you're a Republican. I'm not going to listen to you. You're a terrible person. Republicans may be, oh my gosh, you are a Democrat. I'm not going to listen to you. You are a horrible person. Is really everybody like that? Probably not. Probably not. Okay? I've met a lot of Democrats who are very nice people. I've met a lot of Republicans who are very nice people. I've met a lot of Libertarians who are super nice people, and Green Party and whatever, the Constitution, whatever it may be. But I've also met some pretty terrible people and pretty rude people coming from all the different political parties, guys. But you gotta hear the person out before you make your mind up and to effectively attend to something. Number 4 is understanding. This is accurately interpreting a message. Now, there are 4 different strategies to understanding. Number 1, you gotta identify the main points. As you listen, ask yourself, guys, what does the speaker want me to understand, and what is the point being made? All right, what is the point being made in this speech? You gotta ask questions. You know what a question is, guys? It's to get additional information or to clarify something from the speaker to you. So to increase understanding with a question, guys, you might ask for more details to clarify word meanings or clarify feelings based on the person asking the question. Third part to understanding, guys, is what we call paraphrasing. This is putting a message into your own words. All right? By paraphrasing, you give the speaker a chance to verify your understanding. The longer and more complex the message is, guys, the more important it is to paraphrase. Now, your persuasive speeches were very simple, whether it was, I can't remember every one of them, but whether it was telling us to wear a jersey, whether it was telling us different vacation spot where you should travel to, or whatever it may be, guys. Those are a little bit easier to understand. But if I started talking about the spiral of silence theory in communication, you guys might start asking me questions as to what the hell does that even mean? All right, spiral of silence theory, even though I'm going to ramble right here, guys, this is paraphrasing. I'm not going to get into the whole thing. The spiral of silence theory, guys, is when you have a certain amount of people. So let's just say there's 100 people in a room. 65 of them are Republicans, 35 of them are Democrats. 95% of those 35 Democrats, guys, are not going to say a single thing. They're not going to be vocal, nothing. They're going to go into a spiral of silence because they are dominated by 65% of Republicans in the room, and vice versa. But some of you are very outspoken. Same with me. I would not be silent. And that's the 5%, guys, that's not going to be silent. But that is a simple paraphrasing of what that actually means. And we're not going to get into the entire thing because that would take forever. Now, to paraphrase effectively, guys, number one, listen carefully to the message. Notice what images and feelings you experience from the message. Secondly, number three, determine what it means to you. And number four, create a message, guys, that conveys these images or feelings back to the speaker. Now, number four is make sure you empathize. Empathy is intellectually identifying with the feelings or attitudes of another person or people. Three approaches are empathetic responsiveness, perspective taking, and sympathetic responsiveness as well. Now we're moving on to remembering. This is being able to retain and recall information. It may be difficult for some of us. It's very difficult for me at times. I forget a lot of things at times that people may say. So this week, I asked my friend to go to the driving range one of these nights, and I thought I said Saturday. And I asked him last night, I said, hey, are we still going to the driving range? He goes, you never asked me. And I thought I said, didn't I ask you? I thought I asked you on Wednesday if we could go Saturday. He goes, no, I don't remember that. And I looked back at our conversation, and all I said was, the weather's going to be nice on Saturday. I think I forgot to recall the information. I didn't remember very well, but that was my fault, even though he was busy at the time. So number one for remembering, repeat the information. Repetition is key to really helping people remember. If you guys recall, probably in elementary school, middle school, high school, if you try to recall something during a test, during a speech, during whatever it may be, guys, you're going to try to memorize things. You are constantly repeating the same definition over and over and over again until you have it in your head. And then once the test is over, it's gone. Just like Thanos snapping his fingers. Now, nextly, as we're constructing mnemonics, guys, you're really not going to do that. It's a special word, a very short statement with a new and longer definition, or with longer information, excuse me. You put a mnemonic word together, so let's just say, I don't know, let's just say the word, it's kind of stupid, but from SpongeBob, you guys may remember, Nick and Tracy probably won't remember this, but the word poop. All right, from SpongeBob, it's a mnemonic word. Poop. Sounds really stupid, but it is people order our patties. Yes, it was meant to be silly and stupid, but most of you probably remember that mnemonic device from SpongeBob. Now we're going to be moving on, guys, to well, that's really it. So I want to review some stuff real quick. Listening and why it is so important to effective communication, guys. Remember, you cannot communicate properly without actively listening to the person. Hear them out, all right? Make sure you pay attention to what they're saying. There's 4 different types of listening approaches, guys. People-oriented. There's also facts and information you got to listen to, content-oriented, and then the other 2, all right? make sure you are actively paying attention. And remember the differences between hearing and listening. They are two completely different things. You may hear my fan moving, or, again, my chair squeaking right here. I hear that, but I'm not actively paying attention. And listening, guys, again, is actively paying attention to what someone is saying or the sound going off in the background. So, number 2, the challenges we must overcome to listening, guys. Remember, when you face some challenges with listening, what do you got to do? Well, you got to remember the information. You got to, number 2, block out distractions, mental distractions in the background. But that's challenging. That is super challenging for some of you guys. And we probably all have different ways of trying to block out those mental distractions. And lastly, number 3, some strategies you can personally employ to, number 1, attend to, understand, and lastly, remembering the information. Attending, if you recall, guys, it's potentially positioning yourself to how you can focus on the message. All right, so let's just say I'm looking at myself right now. So I'm kind of attending to myself giving this lecture at the 22-minute and 28-second mark. Next is to understand. Is it confusing? Ask the speaker to help you if you don't understand something. Now, try to clarify with them with something you paraphrase. All right, it could be a simple, super short sentence that you paraphrase. Okay, well, what did you mean by this? You paraphrased it. You're not going to be like, well, in the spiral of silence theory, this and this and this and this. You're not going to do that. You're going to be like, what is the spiral of silence theory in the classroom, and what does it do? Okay, that's it. Just paraphrase it very simply. And lastly, to remember information. Repetition is all I can say at this point, guys. Repeat things in your mind, because the brain is the most powerful tool in your body, to help you remember things. Again, you will selectively tune things out if you are not actively listening, and you will not be able to remember them. I don't remember much of high school anymore, and I'm only 29. I just don't actively pay attention to it. There's a lot of things in just the previous few years I've forgotten. I really don't remember a lot of things. It's not from anything that I don't like or whatever it may be, but I selectively tuned it out. Whether it was my grad school program or a vacation that I went on or something, sometimes I just can't recall it. But stuff that was super important to me as a child, I can still actively remember, because our brains actually pay attention to these things and we remember them. But I'm not even going to remember probably giving this lecture in a week, because I'm not actively attending to it right now, even though I think you guys will learn some stuff from this. But hey, this was chapter 6. I hope this helped a little bit, guys. I'm going to do chapter 7, 2 separate videos. Make sure you do or listen to both of these this week, guys, and I will see you in a week.